My name is David Maeir Epstein. In 1960, I was 11 years old. Rabbi Steve Schafer came to Congregation Knesset Israel in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I lived in, and this always works, I grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is right contiguous to Allentown, but different. Allentown was somewhat Jewish, and Bethlehem was the city that Christ was born in, and I was maybe one or two of every person in the class, so that my connection to the synagogue became an important and the only connection to Judaism for me. 1960 was the beginning of the 60s, and Steve Schafer made that a meaningful statement when he connected Judaism with the civil rights movement. It was the same as being Jewish, as being a citizen of the world. Social justice equaled Judaism. And interestingly enough, Sally was in the youth group that I was in, a year or two younger, and Nina was in the youth group a year older. And Nina was the chairman of the religious committee, and that was the first committee that I got into. And so we wrote creative services, and we were activists changing the way the prayer services were conducted. And that was at Steve's inspiration. One of the largest department stores in Allentown, Pennsylvania was owned by a congregant of Knesset Israel. And that department store had a discriminatory policy towards its employees. Steve organized a picket line in front of the store. The congregant offered the congregation a significant sum to fire their rabbi. The rabbi was not fired. Hank talked about ethics. Steve lived it and did it without bli cheshbon, without taking the price into consideration. Abi Natan was not a very popular guy. He was the guy that flew the airplane into Egypt for peace. Steve helped him significantly. For me, Steve was not a mentor, but he was a model. Some people will say that their father was the most important influence in their lives. Some people will say that their mother was their most important influence on their lives. Stephen Schafer was the most important influence on my life. I would not be here but for him. One of the basic pictures I have in mind, excuse me, with the guitar, hello, could you come up? One of the basic pictures that I have in mind is the following song, and I think it must have had a subconscious influence on my profession. I assist nonprofits in fundraising. And Steve Schafer taught this song. Love is something if you give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Well, love is something if you give it away. It'll come right back to you. You'll end up having more. Thank you, Debbie. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, give it away. It'll come right back to you. Love is something if you give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Well, love is something if you give it away. You'll end up having away.